Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another Simply Coding demo. This is going to be a fun one. So I'm going to go over AI, artificial intelligence, in a very simple form, one you can easily understand. So I have this JavaScript here, this code, and if I open it up in the browser, this is the game it makes. Pretty boring. So we have two paddles, we have a ball, and what I want to show you is how to make these paddles move on their own. So you don't even have to control it. The game will play itself. All right, so let me dive into the code here. Again, we use our Simply Coding library. Really what the library is doing is it just puts images super easy onto the screen and then some collision detection stuff. You could always paste this URL in your browser, look at the library. We have some documentation too, but it's pretty basic stuff just to make things go a little quicker. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make this paddle move on its own. And to do that, we're going to use this property called paddle.x. So I want to show you in the console what paddle.x does. And let's use a set interval function. We use these all the time. In JavaScript, this is pretty much how you control ongoing events. So if we have a set interval function and say log, actually, let's not do paddle.x, let's do ball.x. Log ball.x. So tell me the x coordinate of the ball every 500 milliseconds or twice a second. 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So it will log this. Let me open up the console, and I can't make this larger, at least not a way. Oh, I can. I just did. Okay, so you will be able to see. Here we go. So we have these numbers. It is telling us the x position of the ball every half second. And you can see the ball moving around in the screen, and every time it moves, we log that number. Okay, so I want to make sure you understand what ball.x is. It is replaced by a number of whatever that x coordinate of the ball is. So if I were to add to this console log and do paddle.x, now it's going to tell me both, and there'll be a space in between. That's what this is. I could even put a comma. All right, so let me save and refresh, and I'm going to just move this paddle around. Oh, it gets serious. It shows us some decimal points. So we could, anyway. So here we have our ball and our paddle, and so we have these coordinates changing all the time, right? And the computer is logging that as often as we tell it to. So let's use this logic right here. Okay, I'm going to build another set interval function, and the reason we want a set interval function is because now we want the paddle to move on its own, and so we have to tell it how often to update and think, okay, do I need to move the paddle or not? We want to do it 50 times every 50 milliseconds, which is 20 times a second, something like that. Okay, so the way that we write this is we're just going to use a simple if statement. If ball.x is greater than paddle.x, then, okay, so if the ball is greater, that means the ball is further to the right. So x increases as you go right. It starts at 0, and it gets larger as you go right. I'm actually moving to the right. It might look left. I don't know how the camera reversal stuff works. But we want to push, not the ball, we want to push the paddle to the right. I'm on a Mac, or I mean on a Windows. I'm usually on a Mac, so you see my typing do funky things. It's my unfamiliarity with this Windows. Okay, so let's save that. So let's just go through the logic. If our ball is greater than, so that coordinate is larger than the x, then where our paddle is, then push our paddle to the right. Otherwise, so the opposite, if it's less than, then push the paddle to the left. And do this, update us every 50 milliseconds. So let me hit, here's my hands, and now we have the paddle completely controlling itself. And we could do it for the red paddle too, and we could do it at a different frame rate, or we could have other conditions. The Y has to be below half the screen using the Y coordinates, stuff like that. In fact, let me show you that real fast. That one's kind of cool. Just for a little variation, I copy and paste anytime I can. So let's add another if statement in here. So let's say if ball.y is, now ball.y is 0 in the top left corner, and it increases as you move down. I know that was down to you guys. So if ball.y is larger than 100, then run this code. Okay? And let's change all these to paddle 2. Okay, so if I save this and refresh, now the red is not quite as good as the blue because it has to wait for the ball to get below 100 before it can update itself. So, but here we go. We have the computer playing itself in Pong. Blue is always going to win, and the ball doesn't go fast enough for it to even matter, really. So that's AI. That's a simple, easy way to do AI, okay? And let me show you another scenario where we could do this. Okay, so that was moving the paddle on its own. Let me open up this game. This game, we have a couple of walkers here, and then we have this enemy that just runs off into the distance. Let's say we wanted that robot guy, once he gets to a certain point, to turn around. And so he will kind of guard a territory. He'll be going left and right, left and right. So it's going to be the exact same logic. Let me find where that code is. There's player 2, there's the girl stuff. Okay. So here is the robot. You can see it's using these images, right enemy.gif, and then he has all these properties and he's getting pushed right. So right here, if I put a set interval function, and we don't have to update it quite as much, we can say every half second. Okay, so let's just use this if statement that we learned. So if, and the name of our object is en, if en.x is greater than, I think that whole frame was 800, so if we say it's greater than 650, then since he was getting pushed that direction, let's do en.stop so that he stops, and then let's change his image, set image to images L enemy.gif, and that's an image inside of the images folder that I have. And then let's make him go, he needs to go left. Okay, now instead of an else statement, because we don't want him to turn around, if we just did an else statement, this would become false instantly, and then he would just get pushed back. So we're going to use another else if. So else if en.x is less than, let's say 150, or we'll go 250. Then we're going to do all these same commands and then just switch them. There's R, and there is right. Okay, so now let's see what happens to our enemy. So let me save it and refresh, and he should go a distance and then he should turn around if I did it right. Oh, he turned around, and now he should go a little ways and then he should turn around. Boom, there he is. So now he is guarding this area. And that's how in different games that you build or stuff that you do, you're able to control the enemy and say, hey, here's how much territory you're going to guard. You know, Mario and other games like this are popular for doing this. So there's the code for it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little demo. If you go on our website, I have all of our demos inside this code dungeon. I'm actually building it here in a little while. So it'll be inside this code dungeon. Click on that. You'll be able to see the other demos. But every Thursday, we'll be posting more videos. Every Wednesday, we do a live demo with kids. And we just wanted you guys to understand JavaScript and be able to build cool things. And we'll get into some other languages too. Okay, thanks guys. We'll see ya.